one half of Wild Arizona Cuisine. Today we're going to make a couple of different cool things for us, things that we love making. Everything's going to come local from either farm, foraged, we hunted it. Some really cool stuff for us that I think is a little more wild and off the beaten path. So we have some stone ground Pima corn here, some wild mushrooms. They're pickled up from, this fall's harvest and whatnot. Spruce tip vinegar that we continue to make each single year. All of our olive oil we get from Arcosanti, which is a very cool community if no one's familiar with them. Here's some squash that grows at our farm as well. We're going to use some of these zucchini blossoms coming up just for garnish and some nice flavor. This is our wild rabbit sausage. It's got some of the mushrooms in there, wild onions. Again, just super cool stuff that's highlighting what Arizona can and is to be in the food world. This is just a little bit of fresh cream. We make it with some local goat's milk. It's just seasoned with a little bit of sumac and salt and pepper today. This we call a Three Sisters salsa, so it's last spring's zucchini. We just pickle it up, throw some of the tepary beans in there, and then there's some pickled Navajo sweet corn as well from just this fall. We've got just done with the prickly pear harvest, so this is just a nice little prickly pear stock or juice, if you want to call it. It's going to cook into our corn, and this is my favorite. We've been saving it for a special occasion. This is a stock made of Pima corn. We use the pollen to make the stock, so I've never done that before, and we've kind of been saving it for a special occasion. So let's get in the kitchen and cook. All right, welcome to the kitchen where the madness happens. We're gonna get our corn started first, so I'm gonna take that cream that I started at the very beginning and just get about 1/4 cup into the bottom. And about 1 cup of my prickly pear stock. I really want this dish to look bright and vibrant and display all the different colors and flavors of Arizona. This is our corn stock. And we can always adjust the liquid as we're going along. But we're going to bring the liquid up to just about a simmer. I'm getting everything stirred in together here. Okay, and when it's simmering, I'm just going to add about 1 cup of it today. So we've got 2 total cups of liquid in there, however you want to divide it with your ratio, and whatever kind of liquid you want. Chicken stock works fine, water works fine, just milk works fine. The idea is to cook it to the right texture for you and season it the right way that you think is best. So I've got about 1 cup going in here. So we can see it's going to be real dry. It's going to start soaking all that liquid up. I'm just going to let that do its thing for 1 minute. Here we're back with the squash. Some of the flowers are nice, some of the flowers don't make it, but we got the nice squash off of this one. I'm just cutting little pieces today. It's going to sear up with our rabbit sausage in just a few minutes, just to give it a little texture, a little more earthiness and some freshness as well, I think, to the dish. Nothing like having something that was picked fresh this morning, put right onto your plate for dinner this afternoon. For me, I think that's a huge part of cooking is how fresh can we get it, how local can we get it, how are relationships with these people, can we pick it wild out of the ground, and you start seeing that in a lot of our dishes. This is going to wait just a couple of minutes for the sausage, but we'll get that pan going nice and hot right now. And we can see a nice simmer going now with our grits. And I'm going to do my sausage and squash in this cast iron pan. It doesn't have to be a cast iron pan. I just think it makes a nice coloring on the vegetables or meat, whatever you've got put in there. Again, we go back to this Arcosanti oil. If you get a chance to stop up by there, that's the place you want to go. Just to stop and take a tour, see all the cool stuff they do on the property. Really, really happy to use these guys. I'm going to turn my corn down a little bit. I don't want that cream coming up and over. and just enough oil to kind of coat the bottom of my pan. And this wasn't a pressed sausage or a formed sausage, it's just going to be crumbles, kind of like loose chorizo, Mexican chorizo, if you know it that way. Just again, with letting those flavors of the wild and local Arizona stuff, all that terroir and flavors of the earth coming together. I want to let this pan smoke. We're almost there, but we want to be patient with that pan as well. Okay, you start seeing that liquid go away. That just means that corn's soaking it all up, and I see this pan getting real hot and that smoke starting to come around the outside of it. I'm going to take my sausage just by hand, kind of crumble it right in. I want to get a little bit of color on it first before I throw my squash in, because the squash is just going to get kind of seared on both sides real quick. So I definitely start seeing some color on my mushrooms, on my rabbit. I'll make a little extra room on that side of my pan. I love recipes that only take a couple of pans. The more we can throw into one pan, I think the easier it is to recreate in you know, any kind of atmosphere, whether it's cooking outside, at your home, in a restaurant, whatever it may be. It helps those flavors just come together. Okay, so I'm just going to let this do its thing for a second. Stir the sausage on its side. Come back, you got to continuously stir this. If you let it sit too long, you're going to end up coming back, that moisture is gone. It's hard to add more moisture once you're already into the cooking process, so the idea is to keep your eyes on it constantly. You know, it's the native equivalent of cooking risotto. You can't take your eyes off that pan. That's how much you care about it. That's where your passion is all eyes on this pan, and maybe a little bit this pan too. So check this sausage. Starting to come with really nice color. Turn the zucchini. Also starting to get nice color on each side. And you always see at the beginning, it seems like you added too much liquid. It always does, and by the time you get to that right texture, that right consistency, it's been, you know, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes to get to that, you know, the flavor profile that you want. And you'll be amazed and surprised every time you cook grits or you cook down risotto, you cook anything like that, especially this desert products that are typically and naturally dry. It's amazing to see how much moisture they can take on. Okay, I'm going to turn my grits down even lower, and we're just going to let that slowly finish up. A little bit more color on the sausage and the zucchini. This is a super fun squash. While it's not native to Arizona, it does really well here. We grow a lot of it at our farm, and it's great in all of its different stages. The blossom, the young, you know, the young tiny little squash are great. They're tender when they're raw. They cook down really quickly, really nicely, and then the bigger the squash gets, I mean, they lend themselves to being shaved and pickled, preserved in any which way, shape, or form. Okay, I'm going to take this pan off the heat now. What's really nice about cast iron is it stays hot. I don't have to worry about putting this in a hot box or a warm oven somewhere that it can stay hot. It holds its residual heat for so long. Now I'm getting to this point where I'm pretty happy with my grits. And for me, we're getting to a point where we, traditionally finish with butter and or cheese and or some kind of cream. Again, this is just a real soft cheese that we made out of goat's milk, and just want to finish this off with it. Now, unless we've forgotten anything extremely important, we're ready to plate this dish and get your dinner ready for you. Right. Take our corn. Just want to put it down on the bottom here. Sausage, sprinkle it around. Want everything always to be blending together, those flavors, everything coming together. Nothing more frustrating than watching food that's all separated. Now, got our sausage on, our corn down, our squash going on. This is where we're just going to finish up with a couple of dollops of our Three Sisters salsa. It's going to bring a nice spice, nice vinegar flavors. Just kind of open up, I think, all the other flavors of the dish. A little bit of sage from the garden. There's sage in the sausage, so I want to use the plant in all the different levels and all the different stages of its life. So if it's in the sausage, I want to complement it with the garnish so that everyone can see not only how beautiful the sage is, but also get that fresh flavor from it as well. And finally, for me, I'm going to do just a couple of dollops of the cream inside of it. That way when someone is stirring into it, it's just getting a little bit more creamy texture to it. Got our blossoms from the morning time. There we go, everybody. For me, this just screams Arizona. It looks like Arizona. It's going to taste like Arizona. all the food that's closest to you always tastes so much better. It's traveled less distance, it's fresh, it's clean, you know the people that are raising it, and for me this is the epitome of a dish that can honor Arizona.